but I will save my aces that I have under my sleeve for the lawsuit, not for here. The only thing that I can tell you is that a lot of you guys are right about a lot of things. Thank you so much, guys.
The Tesla Q podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended for and should not be used as financial, investment, or trading advice. Research associated with fiscal decisions should be conducted elsewhere. The host of the show possesses no license or credentials to warrant accepting advice based on what is heard on the Tesla Q podcast. Additionally, even though the host and guests may hold positions in companies discussed on the show, they don't have insights into the next time step of the simulation. Therefore, do not make any financial decisions based on the contents of this podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode number 41 of the Tesla Q podcast. Doing this interview on August 1st, 2019, and today's going to be an interview with Christina Balan. She used to be an engineer with Tesla. This is 2 days in a row of me doing an interview, which is a record for me with the podcast. If you'd like to become a contributor to the podcast, go to patreon.com/TeslaQpodcast. And there's a new bonus portion of the interview with Milena Lukoski that I did yesterday that's available to subscribers. So if you want to listen to that, go there. And as always, if you want some good shorty merchandise, go to evacuationboy.com or go to the Shock Market site that's run by Trish on Twitter. And if you need a link to that, let me know. I'll track it down and send it to you. And without further ado, we're going to talk with Christina Balan. Welcome, Christina.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yes.
Balan?
Yep.
Okay. So, Christina, I understand that you are a mechanical engineer.
Yes, I am.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up being a mechanical engineer.
I was born in Romania, born and raised near the Castle of Dracula, actually.
Transylvania.
Transylvania, yes. 10 minutes from the castle. Proud to be a Romanian. Cool. I graduated from University of Transylvania in mechanical manufacturing engineering, actually, a degree. I always loved cars, and I'm not saying just, watch it or drive it. I really loved cars. Actually, I have a video with my dad telling the parts of the engine, like all the pistons and get everything that was in the engine on 2.5 years old. So I really love cars. And
so what, did you have a favorite car as a child?
I had a favorite brand. Yes, it's Audi.
Audi?
Yes.
Okay.
Or since I remember, I love Audis.
Okay.
And Ferrari, but hey, Ferrari is just a dream.
Yeah, that's a little out of reach for most people.
I love actually Ferrari for the innovation, that the technology that they always put in. Is they didn't put money just on manufacturing side, or on design side, but they have a special R&D just for innovations, which I think it's critical for automotive company to have.
Yeah, I think most of that is probably on the Formula One circuit, so that they can compete there.
Yeah,
right?
I think that this is what the trigger first. But if you see a Ferrari or if you stay on a Ferrari, it's not just the engine and that beautiful noise that they are making, but also the inside quality, like the seats and everything that has in it. Like they put a lot of heart and passion in it. So that's why I love them so much.
All right. And when you finished university and started your career, did you start immediately in the automotive industry?
Yes, actually, I had 2 internships during the university in Brasov with some big automotive OEMs, and I knew that this is what I wanted to. Like I knew before, but I was really passionate about it. And actually, I had it's funny. My mom was a programmer, and I always want to be a programmer. And I choose to have to go that path. And it is a way in Romania that you can choose to have a high school and a college both in one. And on 18 years old, I end up with the college degree as a programmer. And I decided, nah, programming is too too boring. Car, it's still my passion. So I started, the university. And it's funny because everybody was asking me why I'm not going to the automotive, an automotive engineering program. And I love mechanical just because it's so broad and they teach you about so many things that you can go in many directions, not just one. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I graduate, actually, I moved to Canada, and my first job was in Canada. I'm a Canadian, proud to be a Canadian citizen too.
Okay.
And from there, basically, my career started, and I work mainly automotive. Actually, it's funny. I was the only woman that was ever allowed in the R&D center of Honda, Japan. So I was working. I was there. I was sent there by my company. It was a supplier for tier 1 supplier for Honda, and I went there to help them for 2 weeks, and I ended up staying more than 5 months. So it was a let's say a really challenging experience. Mm-hmm. There, but I loved it. And after that, another car that I worked on was in Germany for Audi, the R8, which I absolutely love.
Didn't Iron Man drive one of those in one of the movies?
Yes, he did.
It's a pretty nice car.
It is. It's especially after you drive it for the first time, you realize how awesome it is. It's mind blowing, especially in Germany when you can drive and keep going. You don't have a limit.
Mm-hmm. The Autobahn.
Yes, the Autobahn.
Does that have a 10-cylinder engine or 8 or 12? Or do you remember?
I don't remember which one I worked on. It was in 2007. Yeah, 2007 that I worked on. And in the same time, the company that I work for, it was a design house. They love what I did, and I end up redoing the Porsche Cayenne doors. So it was the first time that Porsche came up with the Cayenne, with the SUV, from a normal sports cars. So it was a challenge for them as well, and I worked for that one too. And I worked for a few other models, being as a supplier, as a design house for Chrysler, and I even touched some Nissan parts. And life took me for a spin. And in 2007, I accepted an offer from Boeing, and I worked for the 787 Dreamliner. Yes, it was an awesome project again. What can I say? I think my expertise in designing and in CATIA took me to a really awesome, and I'm really, how can I say, lucky and humble and grateful for the projects that I work in my life. I loved Boeing for I stayed 3.5 years, I think 3.5 years. I traveled around the world for them. I ended up being the Boeing representative for the 77 Dreamliner interior team. And I help them quite a few. I come up with some innovations for them, save them a lot of money. And after that, I said, no, I cannot do aerospace. not airplanes. Anyway, it was awesome in the beginning, but because everything was new and you can do a lot of, I'm passionate about what I'm doing. That about me. Mm-hmm. But after a while with aerospace, it's just you do the same thing, but from different, clients, ANA or Delta or stuff. So no, I need to, go back to automotive. And this is what that was the moment that I actually applied. I put my resume out again, and I said, okay, let's try again automotive. And this is how I ended up to Tesla. It's funny because I had an offer from Fisker Automotive, if you know.
Yes, I'm familiar with them. They had a plug-in hybrid, I think, and
this one,
went bankrupt, and
I told Tesla that they have to wait for 6 months until I'm finished this contract with them. And Tesla convinced me, pursue me, and actually convinced me to to start with Tesla directly. So that was in 2010. And I would lie if I don't say that I was really, really happy working on the EV project. It's funny because for Honda was the FCX, the fuel cell car that I used to work. Anyway,
Clarity.
But I loved. Let me put it this way. Everybody has a dream. What if we have this? What if it will have that? Well, for me, all the time was like, you're cool to have like an electrical car, like not just a golf car, but a really, really electrical car. And imagine me to have one. And I don't know about you. I don't know if you saw the movie, but I cried when I saw Who Killed the Electrical Car. And it worked, like the ref even now, if I'm thinking, I'm sad thinking how they decided to kill that project. But to have the chance to be part of a new one, like a new era of automotive, I said, yeah, why not? I will start. And it's funny, when I started with the Tesla, they were just moving to Palo Alto. I think we were less than 30, 40 people in there. That's it. I don't think there were 30 people. I have some pictures that I can share with you. And we were under construction. Like it was the paradise of nerds in there. Those all the outcasts, even from St. Petersburg, from Russia, and from China, and from Japan, and it was nice. The environment was really, really nice. I was lucky to see the born of a dream for many. Sadly, I was part also to see how a company can be destroyed if you have too much of an ego on it. So anyway, when I started with Tesla, they just finished the Roadster, and they were selling it, and it was really nice. It was the speed in that car, it was mind-blowing for that time. I mean, from 2010. And they started when I got there. They actually start with the first kind of like real prototype of Model S, and I end up to a point that the Tesla could not. They had such a big design problem in the company that they actually flew quite a few experts from France and from Europe to help them out and fix the problem. And I said, well, let me give it a try. And imagine a girl. I was the only woman, by the way. Not that it's a shock. In my entire career, I never worked with a woman that did what I do, like the pure design. There were a lot of girls in like purchasing or management or project management, but sadly they are not quite. They are not too many that I even heard of, and it's sad because I think we can do it. I think, and I think it's misconception. For a lot of women thinking that men are, too mean or too. I disagree. I think for me, what made me be the way I am and to push myself are the guys, because they're really direct. If a guy has a problem, he's telling you. You have an argument about it. You shake hands, you discuss it, and move on. So it's funny. I never worked with a woman before, so I'm curious. In the future. It will be different, but with the Model S, I asked them, it's like, can I give it a try? Before we move forward, it's like, let me see if I can do something with the model, and I fix it. Everybody was shocked. They not even knew my name, a lot of them, because I just got hired. Well, I thought that it was, I was really proud for what I did, but it became the blessing and the curse of my entire career, because from that moment, nobody want to touch modules anymore. Like, I was the go-to person for the battery. And it's funny because after the first prototype was done, and you know what, I will tell you the story. You know, things didn't end up quite good for me and Tesla, but I'm not one of those person to say that everything is bad. You know, you end up a relationship and the guy it's the blame for everything. You don't remember anything that is good before. So I'm not that person. I been through a lot of good moments with my team in Tesla, and the really, really, really awful ones. So anyway, after I did this, you know, I saved the Model S, they actually made me a really, really big surprise. It was not the first time that I was acknowledged, you know, my managers and my team acknowledged my contribution, you know, through my career, but this kind of like brought me to tears because my managers and a few directors, they made me a surprise. And after we basically finished the first alpha, the first battery that Model S had, they went and talked with the supplier, and without my knowledge, they engraved my name in every single battery pack that Tesla had for many years, which was amazing for me.
So could you describe the problem that you solved just a little bit, like what it was?
Yes, it's Tesla. It's using a software for designing the car. It's CATIA. It's called. I don't know if you are familiar with it. It's one of the most complex, you know, CAD system that is on the market. And
for any listeners, CAD is computer aided
design. Yes, it's basically.
If you're not familiar with that acronym.
Sorry. Yeah. CAD, CAD. It's what you do before you have actually a physical product. You cannot have a physical product without sending a CAD file, like a computer file, to a manufacturer for them to actually create it, a CNC or shop or anything else. So another thing that you're using it for integration. So you want to make sure that everything, you know, fit together one another. Mm-hmm. Anyway, when I got there, they end up. I don't know if you ever open a Model S battery pack, but you have 7,010 batteries alone in just one module. 7,000. Imagine the muscle that assembled it. You know how it looks like, and beside that you have all the electrical components and wires and now the plastic parts and, you know, everything in there. So what happened, where you put the batteries in, like the modules, the battery pack in Tesla, it's the power. Imagine like a heart. You have, you know, 4 different rooms in your heart. Well, in a Tesla battery, you have those modules that where the cells are sitting. So that's the part that I was working on, and that part alone, we call it clamshell or modules. That part alone, just one side, has more than 25,000 surfaces. Just wow. That alone. That's a lot of surfaces. So when I got there, each time that they had to modify something, which is basic, like maybe, you know, you modify like a radius or you add a hole, you have to wait between 2 to 3 hours to update the model. Well, the problem was you could probably do it a little faster today with more modern computers, but this was 9 years ago. Even with the computers that are now, if you put the model that we saved back then, it's still the same problem, because you have the software that is using the core. It doesn't use the whole in parallel, like 16 cores or like other softwares. For example, for stress guys, they are using they can use even it's funny, they can use even PlayStations to boost the power. Well, no, with this software, with the CATIA, you cannot do that. It's just maybe in the future they are thinking to do a different, a different approach. But yeah, and you're talking almost 10 years ago. And what they did, they actually brought the experts, the team from France that made Scatia, like the software itself, to help them, fix the problem. And they said, this is a monster. We cannot fix this. It's true. I work with a lot of assemblies and packages, but what Tesla has in the battery pack, it's a monster. Like not just the amount of parts, but the complexity of it. It's different. Anyway, and what I did, I actually took the file and reconstructed it in a different sequence and with a different steps and a different methodologies in such a way that from hours of waiting right after I finished with my you can update it to like 5 to 10 minutes. Yes. Oh, wow. And
do you think that did your prior programming experience in Romania help you with that? Do you think? Maybe.
No, not well. I should not say that because I kind of know how computer operates. But no, this in this situation is just if you're working, and I think it's a lot of engineers can tell you that if your experience brought you from like a die casting experience going to the design, like a design shop or interior designing, or I think the experience that I have through my entire career helped me with what I did for Tesla. The thing is, even through the litigation that I have with Tesla now, and I had it for a few years, Tesla agreed they actually stated in their brief that even after so many years, they are still using up to date the same methodologies that they implemented in 2010 because they couldn't find anything better to do.
So they use it on the Model 3 and the Model X also?
They use the same parameters, the same type of ideas that they had, the way you structure the entire thing, it's the same. Well, imagine that I work for RAV4. I don't know if you remember, but Tesla did a few hundred cars for Toyota RAV4, powered by Tesla. I was the one doing the modules for that one too, and also for the Mercedes B-Class, they had a project. The same. I work for those too. I actually worked for all the modules that Tesla had between 2010 and 2013. So, cool. And when I got there, I told you it was not a problem of waiting for the updating the files, but they end up to the limit of CATIA, which and by saying what I want to say, each time that they try to save something on the model didn't update. You couldn't save anything. It was like the limit. Maxed out, exactly. And imagine you have to send that part to a supplier to make it. Well, if you cannot export it, you don't have a part. You don't have a part, you don't have a battery. You don't have a battery, you don't have Model S. So, and back then, imagine this, a lot of people, they not even knew who Tesla was. A lot of suppliers have to spell Tesla, and they're like, well, this is Toyota. Who is this? It's like, what? No, it's a company.
No, it's
Tesla. So this is how it was back then. And for people that they listening and they know what automotive industry, requirements are, when you're a tiny slice of their, manufacturing production, they will not wait for you, and put you're going back in the queue, you're going back on the line with something if you miss a deadline. So for them it was crucial the deadline to be there. So this is how I started with Tesla.
So it sounds like your early years with Tesla were mostly positive. When did things start to turn less positive at Tesla?
In 2013. I realized that I was worn out, I want to say. I was working, and it's not just me, my team as well, but because I was the only one handling those parts. It was a lot of pressure and stress coming up from high above. But can you imagine that we had, I don't know, 5 or 6, I don't remember exactly how many, but the push-ups, we call them, in which we had even 8 weeks without a Saturday or Sunday off, and without not even the you're not thinking 9 to 5 work time. We were coming around 8, 9 at work, and maybe we were going home around 2 in the morning. And for me, it was really hard. Sometime I was leaving there around 3, 4 in the morning, and on 8 they were calling me back because they couldn't go further on it. So I had days that I was sleeping not even 4 or 5 hours in a 72 hours shifts. And the worst, I think, the sad part, and I'm sure that you guys heard about the issues of health discussion that Anna has, and people fainting on the floor. Well, I can tell you from my experience that this is how Tesla it's used to push people for. I can tell you from my experience, I was more than 26 hours straight of working, and I actually fainted. The ambulance came. I was out of oxygen, palpitations, everything, the whole thing. I was freaking out. And they took me to the hospital. My team was worried, but the HR and one of my manager told me, well, please do whatever you do, but don't tell them how much you're working here, because you don't want to get us in trouble, right? I mean, we're a team, we're a family. And true, I was like, I don't want to put my friends, because we're not just family, but we're friends. I don't want to put them in a bad position, so I didn't say too much about that. But the time was going, and after a few months, again, I ended up to the, I was having, I was actually black around my mouth and stuff. And
that doesn't sound good.
They asked me to go to drive, because we were working in Palo Alto on Deer Creek location, and it's true, it was like 5 minutes to the hospital, but they actually put me to drive to there. And
so that they wouldn't have to call an ambulance? Was that why they wanted you to drive?
Yeah, they didn't want to, because each time that they were calling an ambulance, they have to report it. Well, during my my last arbitration that I had with them, we asked for, as every company has, like a log of ambulances that they have. Well, guess what? Tesla didn't have that one.
Mm-hmm. No ambulance visits
they didn't
at all?
They didn't record that. So like I said, I cannot speak for other people. I just know from my experience that thing happens in this direction. And I'm not the only one that fainted. There were guys. See, I think it was my fault as well. I pushed myself too much, thinking that I'm a woman and I have to prove myself, because I was told by HR that if you keep having those issues with your heart, it seems that you are not quite a Tesla material, and you don't wanna tell them that you need to slow down, because then you're the only woman in the team, and you're showing that you're weak. And I was, I bite the bait, how it says. Anyway, you're asking me what started this, a rough road with Tesla. And I told the HR, I said, I cannot go in this space anymore. I need to slow down. This is insane. I mean, I was okay for 2.5 years, but I have a limit. And they, it's funny, they allow me to have kind of like 2 weeks to work from home, 2 weeks from the office, until they will reclassify me. Tesla was doing, and it's not just me, it was for like per Tesla in general. For CAD experts, you have to pay them hourly. Well, Tesla didn't do it. Until Tesla, I was paid everywhere hourly. And this is the law in California, Washington, whatever. This is the law for CAD engineers. And I realized that Tesla was not doing this to me, but they were doing it to the entire team. Like all the CAD people, they were not paid. And I told them, it's like this, you guys, you're actually breaking the law because it's not legal to do that. And they promised me that by the end of the year, it was in 2012, I will be reclassified. I was like, okay, I can deal with that. Well, guess what? At the end of the year, they reclassified everybody beside me. Why?
Everyone.
If they kept paying me the hours that I was working, I was. They would have paid me more than the director or a VP on that. And I got really upset. And I said, this is wrong. You guys are really, this is illegal, basically. And I said, I'm leaving Tesla. And there was a lot of fuss about it. They didn't want me to do it. They lure me with a lot of, incentive to stay. And I said, no, I'm leaving. If you guys can do this, it's like, this is not kosher. It's not a fair judgment. And my 2 weeks notice become six weeks notice because they were my friends. Like I said, we were a family, especially my team, my colleagues, and we end up. I had to help them, so I ended up having a 6 weeks, notice. Well, fate make it, but a week before my last week there, I found out that I have numerous tumors on my breasts, and they could be cancer. Well, I didn't want to let them know. I didn't want to let anybody know, what it will happen until I will have a result. But I went back to HR and to my manager, and I told them, well, if if it's not too late, I would like to stay. And everybody jumped out of their seat, and my manager was like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course, why now? Everything is getting back to normal. Christina is back. Like a lot of people heard that. It was, in an open space. Well, this was on a Monday before my last day there. On a Friday would have been my last day. And the HR just said, oh yeah, I'm canceling everything. Congratulations. We are so happy you're staying, And the day before my last day, we had a party. Someone was leaving. And you know how it is when the entire team is getting around on a bar, we're talking and laughing. And one of the people that asked me is like, why are you staying? And thinking that it's not just my friends, it's my family. I told them that next week I will find out if I have cancer or not. I know that I have the tumors. I don't know, if they are cancer. And guess what? The second day, my manager asked me to come to a meeting to discuss future projects. And that meeting was the HR and him telling me that was the exit interview. And when I asked them, what? I just gave me back all my projects. What's wrong? It's like, no. And they handled me like any other, exit interview, they have like a special folder that you give. Well, guess what? They had a sticky note with the HR director wrote on it saying, for disability issue, please call such and such. So they knew before the meeting that I may have cancer in 4 days. So I was like a rotten apple for them. I was not useful to stay there if I may have cancer. And that was my last day. It was January. A lot of people in Tesla got angry. They need me. Like a lot of other team, just like, if you don't need her, we want it. Like, we know what Christina is capable of. And another team tried to get me in like the next week after that. But Tesla HR told them that if they can wait for 3 months, they can have me. 3 months later, a manager called me and he told me if I have cancer or not and what's going on with that. I told them that I don't have cancer. a week later, the HR director called me telling me that, a lot of groups in here want you and we're really desperate to have you back. And now that you don't have cancer, we will actually need you on some really hot projects. And I could not believe that they were actually saying that. But as I told you, I was having so many friends in there, and I had the good part of Tesla that I said, have them, they are bad and rotten apples everywhere. It's not just Tesla. It's everywhere you go there, you have bad people. And I accept the offer. Well, this time I was not in the battery group. I went to interior design, and I was part of Fremont factory. By the way, I have pictures, if so I can show you. I was part of the first opening when we cut the chain and we went inside the Fremont factory back in 2011. So that was fun as well. Anyway, I have to say, when I got into the interior side, on the Fremont side, it was a hell. It was a completely new vibe. It was not Tesla anymore. Like, everybody was just focused on the number of cars that they take out. They didn't even give a shit on the quality issues that they have. They didn't give a damn on the innovation, nothing. I was out for 4 or 5 months, and what the heck happened here? And like I said, I was sorry that I actually moved back to California. I couldn't believe that it's the same company. Well, the hell just started for me, because as soon as I got there, I was asked to make some improvements to the A-pillar, some interior parts from Tesla. And of course, that's why they hire me, to do my best. That's why everybody knows me as a Katia Fairy. Well, it's a reason for it. When I put my magic, something happened. So I got in there, and in the first month, I saved Tesla $2.5 million. It's not the first time. I know it's a big number. It's not the first company that they saved so much money. Boeing was one too. But anyway, my manager and his assistant got really frustrated. How do I dare to save the money? It's like, well, that's why you hire me. This is how the directors and the VPs and everybody wants me to do, to save money. Like,
they were upset about you saving money.
You have no idea. And
that makes no sense.
Well,
but
and I got really upset in that meeting, and I said, I thought that you want me to give me a raise or a pat on the back or something, that I did what I did. Said, what else do you want me to do in here if not improving the quality? That's why you hire me to have solve the issues. His answer was, your job in here from now on is to make Andrew and me happy any way possible. And I said, come again? What did you just said? It's like, be careful, because this can be interpreted in many ways. Well, take it as you want it. What I'm saying it again, any way possible. And I got out of the room, and I said, that's it. I'm done with this. And someone said, like, just calm down. They have a different personality. Just be with us. And they were my friends. I was like, okay. And I tried to put it on a differences of personality issue, not management issues. And it was my mistake for doing that. But like I said, I work with a lot of people, and I thought it's just we can sort this out. Well, I was wrong. It was a few weeks later, I was asked if I can come up with a new idea for X. We are testing some new ideas for the Model X. And I came up with an idea for a prototype, which was never been done in automotive industry before. And I don't know, have you ever drove a Model X before?
I have not. I've actually not driven any of the Tesla vehicles yet. There was a Tesla fan who offered to pay for a Turo rental for me, but he backed down and never lived up to his word on that.
So Model X has like a huge windshield that actually ends beyond your, like, up to the B pillar. B pillar is the post that you have between the front door and the back door, for the people that doesn't know the terminology. And my idea was to come up with a different type. It was the first time that we will not have a sun visor, a physical sun visor in a car since 1931, since the first sun visor was invented. And what was doing, you're going and touch. Imagine to have a clear, perfect glass window above you, and just touch it, and everything becomes black. You touch it again with your hand, and
cool.
becomes white. Another part of the invention was that you are actually putting your fingers like you're making a zoom, in that, and you can actually move a certain portion of the screen, the dark part, up and down, depends on of your view. So you will not block the entire panorama of your windshield. Well, my manager, when he heard the idea, he forced me to give it away to him and to some friends of his. And if I'm a good girl, maybe they will put my name somewhere in the end of the invention, when everything will end. I think you imagine my frustration in that moment. I said, no, I think I can do it myself. And he told me that it's impossible for a woman's brain to develop something like this alone. I will not be able to develop a prototype, rather an invention. And I said, so a woman's brain can actually go and teach you and other guys how to do it, but I'm not,
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. And he said, well, if you don't do it, you're out of this project. Okay, I'm out of this project. And a few directors find out, and like I said, even the bad moments that I have with some individual in Tesla didn't change my thoughts about guys. Even now, I love guys. Just to make that clear, I'm not a lunatic where hates everybody because what happened. And I was really upset. Some directors told me, it's like, what? Why are you so? You have tears in your eyes. What's going on? And I told them the story. I said, I come up with something so amazing. You guys, like not you, but the director, the senior management of Tesla, asked me if I can come up with some idea about this. And now you're the one that kind of like forced me to give it away. Like, where are we? Like Middle East or 1920s? Like, what's going on here? I cannot believe that it's Tesla. I cannot believe that it's US. Like, it's. And she and another two people, they said, no, this is a bunch of BS. Just wait for a few days. And this is how I end up telling my story to the highest level in Tesla, which was Doug Field back then. We were joking because was the CEO without title when Elon was not there. Back then, Elon was part of Tesla one single day every 2 weeks on Wednesdays. This is how much Elon.
One day every 2 weeks.
This is how much Elon was there.
So I think since then he's probably been there a lot more often since everyone else has left.
Field is not there, so
yeah.
But anyway, I wasn't. They asked me to talk with him, and I said, "Are you serious? Do you want me to talk with him?" And they said, "Yeah, I think your idea is brilliant, and it will help Tesla a lot. And we should not. We should praise engineers like you." And I have some emails. If you want, I can show you, like what the senior management was thinking about my idea. And I was really happy. I didn't know what to expect to speak with Doug Field. Everybody, they were looking up to him. He was really, it was an amazing asset for Tesla. It was part of app. He was part of a lot of like Silicon Valley companies, and he had that passion, vibe, and all the time he was for innovation, for R&D stuff. Yeah, production is important, but let's not forget why we are here. Like he was really Silicon Valley kind of like R&D guy, and like I said, Tesla was starting 2013 was just numbers of cars per week. It doesn't matter how it got out, just take them out. It doesn't matter what the issues were. And I talked with Doug Field, and I said, I'm not sure what to believe, because you told me that he told me, like Doug Field, that you are not interested in my idea. Well, guess what? My manager and his assistant actually lied to me when he told me that he presented my idea to the senior management and they are not interested. And this is how I found out. Well, Doug Field said, from this day on, for this project, you're reporting to me. You're not talking with anybody else. You talk with, like a lot of people knew about the project, but they said, no, from this day, I want you're under my, management, so to speak. And he said, you're the project management for your project. You come up with the idea. Tell me how many people you need. Tell me how many guys. Everything was ready to go. Well, the project was done. The prototype was done. Elon Musk got to see it, got into the car. I was actually with the Doug Field, Rich Haley, which was the VP of Product Excellence. Poor guy, he had a really hard time in Tesla for the quality issues that he tried to come up with. And another two VPs were there. And Elon actually came into the car and was like, what's going on? What's the project? And he was in a rush. He didn't know about it. And he got into the car with 1 foot in and 1 foot out, kind of like just a few seconds. And I said, okay, I know that you don't have too much time. Look on the back. And he looked on the technology that I had. And when he saw that was like a second, black, and the other second was like dark, he just meshed the car. He put his foot in, and he was like, do it again. I think he did it like 5 or 6 times. I was not, he's, an eccentric guy, but I didn't know what to expect on that point. It's like he hates it or he loves it. It's like, see, this is the kind of shit I'm looking for Model X. Where is this hidden? Why did you guys didn't tell me about it? And I said, don't worry, we will talk about it next week. And during that week, some really bad things happened in Tesla. My entire team stood up by me when I dared to speak up about the management issues that we had, about the quality issues that we have, about the fact that I'm fed up to look and see how a car that I loved so much got destroyed under my eyes, and I have to accept that. I cannot stay anymore and see how bad cars are releasing out of the factory line without do something about it. Like, I think about this, I had millions in shares on that point. I could just shut up, not care about the customers. In a few years, I will have my share, and so long Tesla, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't, my dignity, my passion that I have for cars, my passion that I have for my career, I just couldn't shut up. And especially that quite a few people, quite a few colleagues of mine share some really safety concerns about some things in the car. And I said, no, we have to bring this up. We have to start an investigation. And we had a meeting with the VP about all this, so in the entire team. Well, my mistake was that after the meeting and after I realized that all that came out from that meeting was the HR, legal, and some of my VPs. The only thing that they wanted is to resign me, as my friends were telling me. I had a stupid idea to send an email to Elon Musk. 3 days later, I was out of Tesla after I sent him the email, but I did send also my resignation in those days, because legal came to me and said, if you want to have your friend's life on your shoulder, go ahead and stay here. Because they knew, I had the invention on top, I had Doug Field on my side, I had too many people to actually fire me. And they told me that if I'm not presenting my resignation, all my friends that they were in that meeting, and you're talking about an entire freaking team, they will be deported to Mexico or out of US. Beside one person and myself, which I have a green card, all of them, they could lose their place in here in US. Well, I couldn't do that. I couldn't stay and watch what they were doing to them, and I present my resignation there. But one of the directors said, no, I don't accept that. I want you in here. My mistake was that I sent the email to Elon Musk. He didn't know actually that I'm the same girl, the same person that did the invention. Anyway, I was on Tesla 2 days later. And actually the HR director who took me out, she wrote on the exit interview, that every time that you're having an exit interview, they have to write what's the reason for it. Well, imagine an HR director writing with her ends, reason for leaving, threatened because she spoke up. This is what they actually put in there. And
wow.
From there.
So your email to Elon Musk was about the safety issues or quality issues?
Yeah, that's the email. That's the email that I sent. And I told him, Elon, I'm out of Tesla. 2 days later, after I'm out of Tesla. Not that I want to, but I was forced out. You have quality issues. You have safety issues. Safety that can, even the VPs agrees that they are safety issues. We are threatened one-on-one by HR. So the HR and the legal, and the director that I was complaining about, they took every single individual from that meeting and trying to force them to drop their investigation. And I sent an email to Elon and I said, you send an email, a worldwide, like a company-wide email, like he's used to even now to do. And you said that if we have any issues to come to you. You said that each time that a director or a manager stop you from talking with another team, we should come to you. Well, I have everything, including how they retaliate and demoted me, recorded for you. Just call me and you will have the recordings. Well, the legal department from Tesla, the senior, I think was associate advisor, I don't remember exactly the title, but after they forced me out and they actually took me to a dungeon place under construction, so with 2 security guards outside the door, and they told me if I'm not signing, I said I'm not signing this resignation. They told me if I don't sign it, they will handcuff me and they will drive me through all the parking lot, and everybody will not know what's going on. So your dignity and your honor will be out of the window. They knew that this is what mattered for me. So, and the legal came down and said, if you care about your family and about your son, you will destroy those recordings as soon as possible. I said, so I'm showing you how I was retaliated against and the reason why. You have it on tape and you're threatening me for that. I fainted of, just the idea that they can do something to my son, my little one. And I fainted in front of Tesla, like in there after the threat happened. And someone told me that HR and legal, they they were laughing when the ambulance came and everything. So I don't remember anything. I blacked out. But they say they were laughing when you were taking out by the ambulance. Anyway, that's kind of like the background up to there. From that point, of course, I went and filed for an arbitration for the whistleblower claim, a retaliation claim, a demotion claim, which all of them, they were there. I don't have to argue. You cannot argue your own words. And that took almost more than 4.5 years, because Tesla is brilliant on delaying things. That took me with 2 law firms, because a lot of Tesla Q, group and team, they keep asking me why am I not having a lawyer, and a lot of, tweets and Reddit, and a lot of people that's like, why does she doesn't have a lawyer? Well, I don't have a lawyer because I caught both my lawyers lying to me and making deals with Tesla behind my back, so they will win. And I'm not talking I don't have a he said, she said type of story. Those are emails in which they are lying. So my faith in lawyers are almost down to 0. And again, I'm not one of those persons that, it happens, something happens to you and everybody's to blame. I'm sure that they are good lawyers somewhere. I just don't trust them now. Anyway, the arbitration ended. And I would like to mention a few things that I think it will blow your mind. And, I'm really proud, by the way, to be part of Tesla Q. Even about a short, I had to learn what exactly the short was. I'm a mechanical engineer who, especially from Europe, you have no clue what, shares and actions, options are. Anyway, and I have to say that in the arbitration award that I had after those claims, I won the misclassification. The first thing that I was telling you about, the Tesla should have paid me the hours that I worked, and the reason why the first time I want to leave was there. I won that one, and I didn't want anything else for the whistleblower and the retaliation. And the reason was Tesla won a motion in which the arbitrator agreed that I will not be allowed to use the recordings, in which you have safety issue, in which you have an entire freaking team that, it's so easy to portray and destroy the image of one person. It's kind of tiny little, just a smidge harder to say that your entire team is losing their mind. Anyway, as I said, that recording is not just me, it's an entire team, and every single person is telling their issues and their quality issue and their safety concerns and everything, the harassment, the bullying. Anyway, they won, of course, the idea for them to not have my recordings admitted, which was not as kosher, but anyway, I don't want to discuss that part because it will help me a lot in the in the litigation that I have now with Tesla. But even if I won the misclassification, the arbitrator come up with the conclusion that $1 million or so that was the money that I should supposed to get for the hours, the lunches, everything that I was not provided when I was in Tesla. He decided to give me only 18% of that amount, even less, I think, because of 3 reasons. And I just want to mention those 3 reasons in the beautiful American society from an ex-former judge. First, I dare to roll my eyes and explosively cross my hands when Tesla's witnesses were talking. 2, 99% of girls and my gay friends, they're rolling their eyes. But anyway, when you're against Tesla, everything is possible. So this is the first. The second, I dare to say that Tesla's witnesses were lying. Well, I have the evidence. Look at them. But again,
yeah, they didn't let you admit the recordings.
Not just that, but the arbitrator lied about the testimony and the evidence that I presented. So he said something like this: I was looking at that email and it happened in April, such and such. When actually the email and the chain of emails after that, it shows you that happened in February. Well, when you change, I know that the law, it's not math, but when you change that exactly the most key ingredient that shows the retaliation against me, of course will not come out to the same result. Anyway, the third thing that I was punished for was the fact that I dare to hyperbolically exaggerate that I saved Model S, when he has a freaking email sent to the entire company in which they said, if Christina was not coming with her magic and save our, save us, we will not have Model S's when we had. But again, when you're Tesla and you're in arbitration against one single woman, with nobody knows exactly what's happening in arbitration, you can be punished for everything. Well, in the same arbitration, Tesla was caught tampering with evidence. And by that, I'm saying they come up with the excuse for not giving me the emails that will prove not just the amount of hours, which you guys will, if you will see it, we, like I said, not just me, but we had an entire team working for 8 or 10 weeks without Saturday and Sunday. And I don't know how many times, more than 26 hours straight. Well, out of the blue, Tesla, poor guy that, they are working even on the artificial intelligence and autopilot. They had a bug in their backup system. And darn it, that bug, it exactly the emails that I needed for winning this, even without the recordings. The judge said, well, it's a bug. Not the judge, but the arbitrator said, well, it's a bug. What can you do? Few days before the final arbitration, like the hearing per se, someone from Tesla, we don't know who, how, whatever it happened, out of the blue, around 40, I don't remember the name, I don't want to lie, but around 40 something emails come out of the blue from a period in which Tesla said that backup is gone. Well, of course, Tesla brought their experts in front of the arbitrator, which end up saying in the end he has no clue why those emails appeared. And the arbitrator come up with the conclusion that it's true that if I would have had those emails, that will help me through a lot of, issues, that a lot of my claims, including the amount of my misclassification. He also said in the same arbitration award that if, even if Tesla brought their expert in, in the arbitration, not even the expert could figure it out why Tesla did what it did. But still, again, Tesla was not punished for anything, like tampering with evidence. But I had to be punished for the reason that I was telling you. During this arbitration, during the hearing, something happened, and a reporter from Huffington Post asked me if I would like to have an article about me. It was not the first time, by the way, that someone was trying to bring some light on what my story was. Wall Street Journal was the first, actually, to come up with the first article about me. And I just want to make like a short bracket here to tell you and the listeners. I had a huge fight, more than 6 months, to force Tesla to bring me into the arbitration. The emails from Elon Musk, the emails that I sent them, they were 2. For 6 months, they said that they cannot find. There is no email. There's no email in Elon's inbox. There's no email in my inbox. Well, I told that story to the Wall Street Journal reporter, and she was about to write about it. Well, guess what? After we had a meeting with me, the reporter, and my dear ex-lawyer, 3 days later, out of the blue and by the same magic that the emails appeared, the 2 emails from Elon's box appeared. And I said, no, I don't want the PDF. I want the freaking original file. It was another huge fight with Tesla to give me the original. And you know why. And this is where my first degree helped me out. I went into the back of on the code of the email, and I figured it out, which it's easy for anybody. You don't have to have a programmer degree. That Elon freaking forward that email that I sent on a Saturday morning, 7 minutes after, to director of HR. Why? Why are you sending an email to an HR person when you find out that you can have recordings, that you can have evidence that people are stealing from you, that people are sending cars out defective? Why in your freaking mind of such a humble and caring, so caring CEO, you're sending that email to a director of HR? Well, quite a few months pass by, and I think a lot of people realize now that I'm not one of those person that you push it away on a corner, yell, and she will stay there. And I fight and fight and fight to have that email. And I want to know what that email said. Well, I was not allowed to. The arbitrator agreed that I would not, to not be allowed to have it. Well, during the arbitration, after I told my side of story, the arbitrator came up with the sua sponte decision. Sua sponte decision, for the people that doesn't know, it's a really high, serious order that the judges and the arbitrator can give for one of the parties to do something like on the spot. And he gave a sua sponte decision to Tesla to provide me with the email that Elon sent. He said, I agree with you guys for her not to see it, but seeing how this affects her, I think she has the right to see it. Well, my second law firm decided to hide from me that sua sponte decision for 10 months until I find out from the final award that actually was the sua sponte decision. I'm not allowed, I wish I can tell you the content of that email. After I had a huge fight with my lawyer, I was told what was said in that email. I realized back then why Tesla want to hide it from me. The hypocrite and the misogynist pig that Elon is. That email kind of like show again clearly that this is how it is. But again, I'm not allowed to say it yet. But that email. And this is how I decided that I will not listen to any kind of freaking lawyer, and I will go against Tesla for my defamation case alone, which I am now. Nobody thought that I will not even file it, not even Tesla. Nobody thought that I will actually go through a oral argument, Tesla included. I did that too. And last month, I had a decision from the federal judge that I deserve to have a trial in the federal court, not with all my claims that Tesla put in the Huffington Post article, but with the most important ones. Just to make clear for the listener that they don't know the story the way you and the Tesla Q knows it, Tesla dared to write a note to this article that was wrote about me in Huffington Post, which was actually the note. It's bigger than the entire article itself. It's not just we deny or she's lying. No, it's bigger. I think it's bigger than the article itself.
Looks like it's about a dozen paragraphs or so.
In which they are lying about. I not even know how someone can actually wrote what they wrote. I mean, I know why, because Tesla it's used to the nobody it's fighting back. They're used to it that everybody's on their side. The law, they are above the law actually, and during arbitration they proved that again. But it was shocking for me, which I know Tesla, which I fight them for 4.5 years, and I know what they are capable of. Reading that note, I was like, darn, I should not be angry of the people from the internet and from the social media saying the bad things they are saying about me, because if I will be in their place, I will think the same way. Like, you cannot lie about a person stealing money, not stealing, but when you're spending money on a secret projects that without approval, it's stealing money. It's impossible to think that a company like Tesla would actually say something like this if it's not true, right? And more than there were so many things in that article that shocked me the most. But listen to this: that article and that note was a few weeks before the arbitration started, the first arbitration. Well, imagine Tesla and the person who wrote it and the person who allowed them to write something like this. They have everything fresh in their mind because they had deposition, they have testimony, they had discovery, they had all the freaking email. And still they lied about things that they knew it's not right. And just I don't wanna share too many because it's an active litigation, but I will share something with you that you will be shocked. Part of the article on one point, Tesla says that I went above their team of experts. I think they use the term. I have to look in here. And says, Ms. Balan was unhappy with a particular supplier that was selected by an internal group of subject matter experts who extensively studied the issue. She took it upon herself to find an alternative supplier that had no prior relevant experience and that failed a mandatory site inspection. Well, when you're reading something like this, you're like, hey, she's not just disobeying, but she's crazy to do something like that. For a normal person. I mean, it's not from someone that it's an industry, someone who just reads the article. Well, Tesla's critical witness testified in the freaking arbitration, had depositions with them, in which he described in details how he talked to that supplier that Tesla said that I brought. And he explained them, the arbitrator and to my lawyer in the depositions, how he was the one to introduce them to me. Emails shows that, and you freaking lie on something like this when you know that I not even knew any of them. When you have those depositions, imagine how, when you will guys see the entire, when I will get to federal court and you guys will see the entire evidence, this is just an example for you to see how malicious Tesla can go to what level of maliciousness can endure. Like, you're not lying about, he said, she said type of story. You're lying about something that you knew that is not true. The same with the New York thing. They are saying that I spent Tesla's money on personal created project. He says, Ms. Balan spent company time working on secret projects without her manager approval and booked an unapproved trip to New York on Tesla's expenses to visit a supplier for her own personal created project. So first of all, hundreds of emails that they were the one making discovery for in the previous arbitration. That field, another 3 VPs, 2 directors, a bunch of technicians that they work under, under me and Helmi with that project. And you're telling the world that this is own personal created project? And I didn't have any approval when, if you're looking on my claim, the claim that I, the original claim that I filed, you will see Doug's field saying, I just don't, not just that I just like this idea, I'm obsessed with it. So you have an email from the highest level in Tesla saying, I'm obsessed with her and I cannot wait to see the prototype. And you're daring to say this on a freaking media post like Huffington Post that I didn't have approval on it. It's beyond what I get. And for the listeners, for you, even if I loved New York, sadly, I never had the chance to go there for business or pleasure. So imagine the shit show that it will be when Tesla has to produce the trip expenses, the hotels, the meals, which they lied during the previous arbitration as well, that happened when I never been there, when they have emails that shows that I not been there. So never in my life, ever.
So you've never even been to New York, never in your life. Wow.
Yes.
And they posted this in this note in the Huffington Post.
It happens that
that's ridiculous.
I won the half of, at least I won a place in the federal court. Next April it will be the trial in which Tesla has to prove the criminal charges that they brought against me. They have to show how did I spend company money without any approval. They have to show how did I went and brought a supplier out of the blue when the facts are showing differently. They have to show all those things that they are clear evidence without even me opening my mouth. I can just show the jury and the judge just look on those emails. And now Tesla decided that they don't like the decision that the federal judge, actually she's a senior federal judge, one of the most respected in Seattle in Washington State. And they decided on Monday to make an appeal for her decision. The reason is part of her order was because of how Tesla acted up to now. She's cutting all the confidentiality agreements and clauses for the arbitration and for the court. So everything that I'm telling you now, everything that I will put during arbitration on my website, everything that I'm saying, everything doesn't have any type of confidentiality agreement starting last month. It's appealing the fact that they have to go, they still have to go in federal court and demonstrate the criminal charges that they have, which is really bad in a defamation claim. In a defamation claim, what counts is the truth. Did she or did she not do that? It doesn't matter what other, that's the truth. And they will have, as you will see, they will have a hard time, proving trips that never happened, proving projects that I had approval for so many people, proving suppliers that I brought. It hurts so bad reading on a social media. Normal people, like, you cannot blame them. They wrote, they read the article. I will, even if I will not be a Tesla fan, I will start having doubts about that person who will do such a thing, right? Saying that, I'm sure that the supplier that she was brought in, it's one of her cousins or some family thing, and she had part of the kickback. It hurts. It hurts so bad. But you're right. If you're looking from their perspective, what the hell? Someone will bring a supplier out of purchasing team, if not for, personal reasons. Well, I cannot wait to see that those Tesla fan boys, what they will do when they will see that everything was a lie. And now I was, like I said, I was really upset this week, and I asked for everybody's help, for legal help, for financial help, or any type of help to help me out with this appeal. I'm shocked that Tesla actually went through this, take this path, knowing that they were lying. I cannot believe that they were doing this. It's unbelievable, but it's Tesla, so I should not be surprised of everything that's coming out of there. But as I said, defamation, it's a totally different ballgame from whistleblower and other claims that I had. Is the truth, and I'm confident that we are still in US, even if I was punishing for rolling my eyes and cross my hands. I truly hope that the GEMS, the arbitration company that I will be, they will not punish me again, because I'm a woman. I'm proud to be a woman, and I probably, even if I change my sex, I'm sure that I will roll my eyes until I die. So, see, like I said,
I roll my eyes. I'm a dude, so
I will do it anyway. So let's hope that I will not be punished for that one for this time around.
Maybe you could wear some glasses to disguise your eye roll.
So right now,
maybe that could be part of your strategy. So, when is the next?
The Ninth Circuit.
When is your next court date?
They appealed the decision to the Ninth Circle Appeal Court, and they're really busy. Imagine that is the ninth, that all those states, like how in Hawaii, it's in the Ninth Circuit. The date that I have, I think it's December 6th to send my reply. Tesla had, I think, November 6th to send their demands or complaints about it. And after that, we just wait. The frustrating part for me, it's I know how much expertise they have to delay things. Like, look on the pedo guy, like Werner. Look on Trip. Look on all the other cases they have. For them, it's delay, and we will see after that. And it's a heartbroken situation for me is that I spent 4.5 years of my life with this. I wish it's somewhere there, someone knowledge enough, some honest lawyer. I know that I was told that it doesn't exist, but I truly believe that it's someone decent out there that they can come up with a solution for me to stop Tesla to delay this for another 2 years, because I understand from the clerk from the Ninth Circuit that I could wait even 18 to 24 months for a response just for the appeal. So that's a long time for something that I imagine. This
a long time.
Even the judge was surprised when I said that. I don't need any discovery more than the emails between Dave Arnold the VP of Tesla, who, by the way, was the guy that Tesla hired for so many years to tell me who wrote the article. And 3 days later, after the federal judge forced them to disclose the name, Dave Arnold left the company for family reasons. Of course, not because of me. So let's face it, it's not about me. Clean Technica, by the way, they try to kind of like put the puzzles together, and they said, we don't know if it's because of her or not, but it's a weird coincidence. 24 hours later, Dave Arnold called them. I don't want to say more than that, but I called them and tell them to take everything that it's about me out because it's completely false. I called Clean Technica and I told them, why did you took everything out about me? Like, why? How do you know that it's completely false or not? Well, we received a phone from Dave Arnold telling that we should take everything out about me. So Dave Arnold didn't care to take out anything about the pet dog guy lawsuit. He didn't care about the trip lawsuit. He didn't care about, he didn't care about any other lawsuit. Just mine took it out because it's completely false. That was a funny thing that just happened a few weeks ago before he left the company. But right now, it's for me, it's just a dead, like, it's frustrating. I think this is the most frustrating thing for me now because I don't think it's fair for me to have to wait for another 2 years to be in the same situation that I am today, where I have all the evidence. I don't need anything because they were the one making the discovery of those emails in the previous arbitration. I don't need anything. Right now, I can go in front of a judge or the arbitrator and say, here's the truth. Besides, like I said, the emails between Dave Arnold and somebody else, who knows who. But I also receive a warning from the lawyers that it's handling Tesla case that I will, that I'm dreaming if I think that I will have Elon's email again. I said, well, it's not your choice or my choice. I think that the judge will decide about that. Well, imagine the frustration, the shock when they saw that a woman engineer from Transylvania who learned law in 3 months on her own won something in this oral argument that I had. And it will be really, really difficult for Tesla when they have to stay in front of a jury in a federal court, because one of the claims that they have to show and prove is that the recordings that I did are criminal. Well, it's not so simple to say just they're criminal. To be criminal, you have to do something with them. To be criminal, it's to do it without. It's not just, oh, she recorded. It's against the law. That's it. It's done. On that point, I will have the chance to make those recordings public. In that moment, the world, the jury, and the federal judge will see the criminal stuff that Tesla did in those recordings. So I think that's a big part of this appeal. Just question yourself, why did Tesla make a motion for the arbitrator not to have them in the first arbitration? Why did Tesla specifically told me to destroy the recordings? Why? Imagine that even they were the ones admitting into their arbitration brief that we told her to destroy the evidence. We told her, the legal counselor told her to destroy the evidence, and she didn't. How can you? Anyway, it's beyond my comprehension, but it's Tesla, so they can do whatever they think like. I'm here, I'm standing. As you can see, Tesla, I'm not afraid of you, Elon Musk. From my opinion, you're the biggest hypocrite that I ever known. And for the people that actually wrote my blogs and wrote some of my tweets. Some of them, they got the impression that I am not against Elon Musk, I'm more against Tesla. Because why did I want to have a meeting with him? Why in the world she wants to have a meeting with Elon Musk? Well, put it this way. My honor, it's more than just money. My honor and everything that I did up to now, the fact that I lost all my shares because I want to save my colleagues not to be deported. My honor who didn't allow the cars to be sent out with defects is the same honor that I want to look in that and put the darn email that he sent to all of us, that if we had the issue with management that didn't allow us to do our job, to go and tell them, go and tell him. And he turned his shitty back and he shoved me under the bus. I want his face, I want his eyes to look into my eyes and say, yeah, I knew about it. Of course he didn't do it. Of course he didn't do it up to now, but I will fight, and I will fight, and I will fight for all power that I have to convince the judge that I have the right to call Elon Musk on the stand and ask him a few questions for which he destroyed my life. And that's another part that Tesla is afraid of. Me, as a woman, interrogated Elon Musk. Well, that will be interesting to see what his reaction will be. Yeah.
That would make some good TV, definitely. Well, I know a lot more about your history and your situation with Tesla now, and I think all the listeners will too. Any last things you want to wrap up with before we finish our conversation here?
From Tesla Q, from all my heart. You have no idea what your tweets and your encouragements, and I know it's disregard the GoFundMe, which I'm really appreciative of, the contribution that you guys did up to now, but the tweets and the care, and just to say it's okay, Christina, or we are proud of you, Christina. Or I had girls from Tesla Q who DM me and said, thank you so much for doing this for all of us as a woman. I'm happy that you guys exist. I never knew that Tesla Q is, I never had a Twitter since last June, so I never sent one, but I had women in a really difficult situations who told me I could stand up to my abusive husband because of what you did. And I couldn't do it. She couldn't known if Tesla Q was not there. If Tesla Q was not there to reply and retweet my story, there were a lot of people that would not have been affected by this thing. And I'm really happy for you guys. I'm really happy that you guys are, showing what's really happening in Tesla. It's really sad to hear so many people, looking at Tesla as a god, as a cult. They not even conceive that Tesla or Elon Musk can actually be wrong. And I'm not kidding. I received threats, and really serious threats, including quite a few telling me that after I started the defamation lawsuit, and I sent the first cease and desist letter, I sent it to Elon Musk at home. And I got a few really concerned texts as a mom telling me that I should be careful what I'm doing, because attacking Elon Musk means attacking God. If you love Jesus, you cannot talk bad about Tesla, because Jesus was the one who helps Tesla be who it is now. I was shocked. I could not believe that I'm hearing this. Like I was reading it. I was like, what in the world is going on? The problem is because the way Elon is and the way he loves bullying and he loves harassment. He's gathering so much hate and so much kind of like, oh yeah, attack everybody. Oh yes, go and tell this and that. Oh, it will end up really bad. I don't know if he realizes it or he's doing it on purpose, but those are sick people out there. And to tell me that you cannot love Jesus and say bad things about Tesla, I think it was the end of the road for me. I'm just happy that you guys are here, and just for the world to know, Tesla Q is not just about shorts, it's about the truth, because a lot of things that you guys are saying, I've been there, I saw them, I have analysis because I was part of part of the group that I had to receive them. And I can tell you that there were hundreds of complaints and issues that they were coming out, on the pipe. Tesla was new and Tesla knew about it. I cannot tell you more. I wish I can, but I will save my aces that I have under my sleeve for the lawsuit, not for here. The only thing that I can tell you is that a lot of you guys are right about a lot of things. Thank you so much, guys.
Well, thank you, Christina. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for the kind words about Tesla Q. And we will continue to tweet and seek out the truth and tell things the way that we see them. And as always, you can get some Shorty merchandise at evacuationboy.com.
Yes, I do.
And Christina, I think you have a GoFundMe account or campaign. So there's a GoFundMe campaign for Christina. There's the one for Carl Hansen. There's the one for Skabushka, which doesn't need more funds at this time, but updates do get posted periodically there from Montana Skeptic. And there might have been... Oh, there's also the Carlos and Maggie Aranda GoFundMe. So 4 different ones out there that I know of. Maybe there may be another one in the near future. Who knows? Tesla does apparently like to abuse people and treat them poorly. And Tesla Q is here to help some of those people. So this was episode number 41. I appreciate you listening, and we'll be back for episode 42 next time. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.